Live from somewhere you're not, it's KPBC News. With your lead anchor, Anchor Cat. Greetings, I'm Anchor Cat, and these are the most important stories our corporate ownership is comfortable with letting you plebes learn about. In our top story, the management and ownership here at KPBC News has asked me to deliver the following official statement in light of the settlement recently met between Dominion Voting Systems and Fox News. Their statement reads as follows. We, the ownership and management of KPBC News, deeply regret having rat-faced scarecrow and treasonous lawyer Sidney Powell on our airwaves at all. While we thought that pointing out in real time during the interview that she was spewing more shit than a broken septic pump would allow us to avoid contributing to anything harmful to anyone, much less Dominion. In hindsight, we should have simply told Ms. Powell that we don't have the tech to translate her words from farts into English. We will endeavor to do better in the future. Please don't sue us too. We certainly have lots of money because we own a media company and don't pay our on-air talent worth a piss, but we don't have Tucker Carlson's white nationalist power hour kind of cash like they did. Thank you. It's time for sports with Fred Fritz. Nice to see you, Fred.
Well, nice to see you too, AC. And it was quite an exciting night last night in professional sports. You see, the local professional team, which is a bunch of millionaires playing on a team owned by a billionaire, played a game on a field worth tens of millions of dollars donated to that billionaire tax-free. And at the end, they had scored more points than a team of millionaires representing another billionaire from another town, therefore making them victorious. Quite frankly, it was the most exciting thing I've ever seen in my life. But I don't get out much. In fact, I'm pretty much just a fucking shut-in. Help me.
Wow, it sounds like a really amazing game.
One of the best I've ever seen, quite frankly, and we'll have all the highlights for you and our viewers tonight at 11.
Thanks, Fritz. We can't wait to see those highlights. We'll be right back after this word from our sponsors. Don't miss Middle-Aged Mohawk Man. New episodes every Tuesday, only on Real TV.
Because voting for a guy who wants to bang his own daughter don't bother me none, because I do bang my own sister. I vote Republican.
Welcome back. In our next story, we're headed out to Halifax, Mississippi, where reporter Stu Stewart spoke to an attorney whose client is in hot water for doing something most people used to call charity. Stu.
Anchor Cat, I just got done interviewing Ryan Bell, a lawyer for Ms. Christina Simon, who was arrested on Thursday for feeding homeless people. So she's in trouble with the law for feeding people who need food? Did she steal the food from somewhere else?
Yeah, I was contacted a Thursday night by Miss Simon and asked to represent her. Apparently, she's been given over half a dozen citations for feeding the homeless, and according to a local ordinance, that means she's subject to a $20,000 fine and 6 months in prison.
So why is she still in trouble?
It is probably because down here in the Bible Belt, if you act like you've read the Bible, that can get you in a lot of hot water. If you act like Jesus acted, you might not ever see the light of day. It's like living in one of Ayn Rand's worst, most reductive novels, and they're all shitty and reductive. Honestly, I'm just hoping that my client gets a fair shake and I can convince the judge that she's a decent person, but they're all Trump appointees down here, and getting them to recognize Christian behavior is impossible. I don't think they'd understand it if it hung itself on a cross.
Mr. Bell is hopeful Ms. Simon is able to get a plea deal with the local authorities in place soon. From Halifax, Mississippi, this is Stu Stewart. Back to you, Anchor Cat.
In our next story, we're going out to Cold Cave Hills, Tennessee, where pro-MAGA podcaster, singer-songwriter, and Second Amendment activist Jethro Bohiggins told us that he recently was released from the hospital with extreme groin injuries after an accident in his bedroom. Here's a short clip of our interview with Jethro, recorded earlier.
Yeah, thank you very much, Anchor Cat. Thank you for those kind words, really. That was very sweet. Oh, and my cousin wife told me that y'all sent us a card with a Cracker Barrel gift card in it, and that's just so kind and generous, Anchor Cat. Thank you. You are right. It's been a hard week with a lot of tough lessons. Biggest lesson I learned is, if somebody comes to you and says, "Hey, I got a prototype penis pump action shotgun," no matter how attracted you've ever been to your shotguns, and we all have been, you got to turn that down. Because honestly, there are much more safer ways for you to plump up your groundhog than to bone up on your shotgun. It's a conundrum I'm sure you found yourself in, Anchor Cat. Most patriots really do relate to this kind of thing.
Welcome back to ASMR Nobody Asked For. I'm definitely regretting the 11 p.m. Taco Bell order I made last night on DoorDash. If I have diarrhea right now, I'm having diarrhea all over this microphone.
But for you, because I consider you a close chingadera fanatic, $19.99. Hit us up, chsn.com. You could also call if that's,
Aw, fuck. I was all set to celebrate taking over legal control of all the vaginas in my state, but then I did the math and realized how many more liberal, commie, cuck socialists will be born now. I'm not sure what to think. I better turn on Fox News so they can tell me what to think about it before it's too late.
Televangelist Pat Robertson has a stern warning for Christians who also consider themselves fans of the Star Wars franchise. Do not invest too heavily in the space opera. Robertson specifically was concerned about a new character introduced in the popular Disney Plus original program, The Mandalorian. Mr. Robertson told viewers today that he has been hearing people talk about Baby Yoda, also known as Grogu. Much to his chagrin, Robertson found out that it wasn't a new Japanese pickup truck. Robertson said he is very concerned that everyone really loves Baby Yoda and that it's dangerous for society to love Baby Yoda, particularly when everyone should be loving another baby named Jesus instead. Robertson said Christians have a choice to make: love Baby Yoda or love Baby Jesus. We asked Jesus about Robertson's thoughts and will bring them to you in our 6 o'clock broadcast. Now we take you out to Cinnamon Hole, Georgia. That's where domestic terrorist and Congress pony Marjorie Taylor Greene said one of the missing GOP whistleblowers, People Green and Representative Jim Comer, claimed to have evidence about President Biden and an influence scheme with his family, had been staying until they, and most of the others, went missing. Reporter Robert Greasegun has the story for us. Robert.
Anchor Cat, just moments ago I spoke to MyPillow CEO Mike Lindell, who told me that he and Representative Green share both a crack dealer and a mutual friend, who introduced the two of them to the now missing whistleblower. According to Mr. Lindell, the whistleblower had, quote, valid and credible evidence that Hunter and Joe Biden are running an illegal unicorn breeding operation, and that they've hired an army of transgender leprechauns to protect their business interests.
Robert, what did the leader of the transgender leprechaun army say when you asked them about these allegations? And were you able to track down where this whistleblower was staying?
I was not able to locate the leader of the transgender leprechaun army, though at one point I ran into Sean Spicer, and I thought for a moment I had. And when we asked Ms. Green where to find the last known location of the whistleblower, she farted into the phone, jumped onto her broom, and wrote in black smoke in the sky, "I'm coming for my sister's ruby slippers, Dorothy." We'll follow up with her office and see what she meant by that.
It sounds like a fast-moving story, Robert, and I'm glad you're there to keep us up to date on it. Recently, right-wing commentators were outraged at President Biden for making comments about and condemning white supremacy. Just this month, a violent white supremacist killed 8 people at a shopping mall in Allen, Texas. Social media posts from the shooter indicate he was inspired directly by the same far-right commentators who were angry at Biden for mentioning racism. Screeching broomstick and a blonde wig Tomi Lahren told Fox News viewers on Sunday morning that Biden would have been on the wrong side of the Civil War, no matter how much Robert E. Lee and Nathan Bedford Forrest begged him to join the Confederacy. Later, Lauren would then use her blackface character Candace Owens to trash Biden for being, quote, more upset about white supremacist violence than he is about white supremacists' feelings, unquote. Tucker Carlson published an op-ed on the back of a KKK pamphlet demanding an apology from Biden to all good, clean, ammo-hoarding, cross-burning, patriotic American white nationalists. In response, the White House issued a blanket reply to everyone who criticized Biden, condemning white nationalism and calling it a grave threat to American security. The White House response is as follows. Cry about it, dorks. We'll pause right here for a station break and be back after a few short words from our sponsors.
Because cops ain't the only ones who should be allowed to kill an unarmed homeless black man if he even feels remotely uncomfortable around him. I vote Republican.
This
This week on Sports Cats, the boys discuss why they don't seem to care about women's sports until someone tells them a transgender woman is participating in them, and why it's not at all ironic that neither one of them can get their wives off. What else was that guy supposed to do?
I don't know. Maybe not literally squeeze the life out of a guy's lungs?
But he felt threatened.
Threatened by a guy who wasn't attacking him or making any threats to attack him.
Why are you being so mean and judgmental to this hero?
Because unless they're Bruce Wayne in a batsuit, I don't really think vigilantes are a good idea.
Vigilante? Are you crazy? He's a good Samaritan.
Oh, you mean like the Bible story?
Exactly. I knew you'd eventually come around.
Hey, I happen to have my Bible right here. I'm gonna turn to the Good Samaritan parable. And if you can just show me where he murders the man in the street on social media, I'd really appreciate it. Okay, talk to you later, bro. Have a blessed day.
It's with great pleasure and enormous pride that we bring you this next report, all the way from the Earth's moon. There, we have reporter Chuck Charles, and he's about to file our very first interstellar lunar report. Chuck?
Live from somewhere you're not, it's KPBC News. With your lead anchor, Anchor Cat. Greetings, I'm Anchor Cat, and these are the most important stories our corporate ownership is comfortable with letting you plebes learn about. In our top story, the management and ownership here at KPBC News has asked me to deliver the following official statement in light of the settlement recently met between.
You mean no one thought to check how long it would take for the signal to get to the moon and back before we spent $400 million on that SpaceX piggyback? Please don't tell me I sucked up to that billionaire hair plug recipient for Well, it appears that there's quite a long delay between here and the moon. Chuck, we'll catch back up with you when you get back down to Earth. In our next story, we're headed out to Lago Blanco, Florida, where reporter Skip Timalou says locals are abuzz about seeing a former Fox News host filling out a fast food employment application. Skip?
Thanks, AC. You are extremely right. Locals here are absolutely besides themselves after Tucker Carlson was spotted filling out a job application at this White Castle burger restaurant just behind me. Everyone I spoke to was shocked to see the multimillionaire here asking for a fast food service job. However, sources close to Mr. Carlson that we spoke to said that money has been tight since he was fired from Fox News. Apparently, Carlson hid a $600,000 a day M&M habit from everyone, and now that he doesn't have his Fox News checks to depend on, he can't afford it.
Tucker Carlson eats more than $500,000 in M&Ms every day, Skip?
Oh no. No, he fucks them. He buys the M&Ms in bulk, puts them in a thimble a couple at a time, and fucks them. So that's why Tucker was here filling out a job application. He needs money to buy the M&Ms he fucks. Apparently, even though he has a substantial trust fund he still pulls from, there is specific language in the trust documents that forbid him from using any of that money for the purpose of buying M&Ms in bulk, putting a couple in a thimble, and fucking them. From Florida, this is Skip Timalou. Back to you, Anchor Cat.
So that's it, I guess, folks. After 12 years hosting this show on this station, I've been fired. Apparently, the soy boy beta cuck management here is too chicken shit to keep me on the air just because I cost them almost $1 billion in a defamation lawsuit. It doesn't matter how much of their corporate sanitized white supremacy I delivered to the Bible Belt for them, apparently. It's just, what have you done for us lately, Grand Wizard Fred? And that's just sad to me. But don't expect me to apologize. Of course, you, my loyal viewers, never would. Because you know I don't apologize for telling the truth. And in this case, the truth is that Dominion Voting Systems hired the ghost of Saul Alinsky to work with Hugo Chavez and Barack Hussein Obama to rig the election for Joe Biden. And I will believe that until I make up a different conspiracy theory to explain why my worldview is unpopular and I'm considered a fuckface by anyone with half a brain cell left functioning in their heads. Stay strong, my friends. The South and Fred Emigel will rise again.
In an influence scheme with his family had been staying until they, and most of the others, went missing. Reporter Robert Greasegun has the story for us. Robert.
Anchor Cat, just moments ago
Look, man, I'm okay with it, all right? I'm okay. I'll get on with it. I'll get on with life. It'll be fine. It's just, I support traditional American values and traditions and customs, and apparently not every beer company does. And it's a little bit of a bummer being down to just 2 ways for me to get my buzz on now. I wish these beer companies would pander to my religious extremism, because when they don't, it really starts to make me think, wow, has the free market spoken? Have they done market research and figured out that most beer drinkers aren't bigoted ignoramuses like me? But that gets me so close to doing critical thinking and I stop it right then and there. I change my pants because I shit my pants when I start to critically think and then I stop. Critically thinking, I mean. I'll be okay. I guess the good news is that I was already hooked on meth and Donald Trump's piss tastes pretty good to me, so there's that, I guess.
Tonight on Watch, we crack the code on the genetic link between those who smelt it and those who dealt it. You won't want to miss it. On the next Business Casual.
I'm sorry, Billy. No, I'm sorry, Billy. No, Billy, I'm sorry. Billy, I'm sorry. Billy.
New 23andMe test results seem to indicate that Congresswoman Lauren Boebert may just be a singularly stupid individual and not descended from the literally dumbest human beings ever. We talked to Dr. Benson Hornadu of the National Institute of Scientific Shenaniganry about what he thinks is really going on. Honestly, I don't know that it matters. Lauren Boebert is a scientifically certified fuckwit, whether or not she comes from a long line of morons or is the idiotic runt of the litter. We'll bring you more of our interview with the doctor this weekend on the Weekend Medical Shit, Saturday at 9 p.m. Eastern.
Billionaire pretend inventor Elon Musk says he has no idea how an apartheid-era diamond ended up lodged in his pee-pee hole, but he's extremely grateful that it only weighed about 1/10 of 1/2 of 1/100th of a carat. We'll talk to doctors about if this will have any impact on his hair plugs at 11.
What's up, everyone? I'm Jess Winkman, and welcome back to VTV's Totally Requested Videos. Coming up next is the #1 requested video of the day. Actually, I should say it's the #1 video for the last 6 weeks running. I'm sure you all know what's coming, but here it is anyway. Let's check out the smash new single from the Pickle Dicks. What's this weird bump doing here?
Oh, is it my fault? You're telling me it's my fucking fault that you didn't vet that rat-faced scarecrow enough, Billy? I'm getting fired because you told me to put Sidney Powell on, and now it's my fault? What a crock. This is like that time you told me that I was wrong about it not being racist if you only call them the N-word in your head. And then Rush said I was right the very next day. You're going to rue this, Mr. Billy. You're gonna rue it. Hey, I get it. Sometimes it's odd seeing the kids doing so much better because they got to piggyback off the success and knowledge handed down to them by people who are older than they are. Maybe it's annoying when your woke grandson tells you something you know is bullshit, but then you find out he's actually right. Hey, it's a free country. You're allowed to get friggin' peeved at whatever you want. I'm just saying that I don't spend time thinking about my kids' genitals or your kids' genitals. And it's kind of creepy if you spend that much time thinking about any kid's genitals so much that you gotta try to get laws written about them. Maybe that's just me. Maybe it's just because I'm a Miracle Whip guy. You know, who knows?
In Florida, Governor Ron DeSantis has just named his next private sector enemy, BIC, makers of a specific product that DeSantis called, quote, rude, mean, offensive, and clearly reversed racist. We take you to reporter Polly Birdman with the latest. Paul.
Anchor got just moments ago, DeSantis announced that he was permanently banning whiteout from all Florida retailers. DeSantis spokesman Jeremy Dipshit spoke to us about his boss's decision.
Of course, being a member of the elite media, you wouldn't understand this, Paul, but it's really very simple. It's all right there in the name. Whiteout. They want to take the whiteout. And how do you take whiteout? With violence. Probably. Or cancel culture? Worst yet, with communism?
Mr. Dipshit, if I'm not mistaken, though, whiteout doesn't actually remove white things. It makes everything white to, make black things disappear.
Are you sure about that?
I have some right here that I can show you how it works.
Holy Mary, Mother of God! We shouldn't be banning whiteout. We should be trying to make whiteout the official office product of future President Ronald DeSantis. I wonder if they changed their name to White Only.
Mr. Dipshit told me that he had to make urgent contact with the governor and ended our interview shortly thereafter. It sounds like whiteout will not be leaving Florida's shelves after all. From the nation's floppy dong, I'm Polly Birdman. Back to you, Anchor Cat. Thanks, Paul. And that's going to wrap it up for all of us here at KPBC News. This is Anchor Cat, and please remember to have your humans spayed and neutered if you hear them talking about stolen elections or groomers at drag shows. Good night, everybody.
I'm sorry, son, but apparently Disney decided to change things without telling us before we booked our vacation, and apparently we can't do the fucking Ewok experience after all. So I hope a custom droid or lightsaber will do instead, and I'm sorry Mickey made a liar out of Daddy. Dad, I think now that I'm 42 years old, you can stop calling yourself Daddy to me, and definitely we can start booking our own Genie Plus experiences from now on.
Thanks, Anchor Cat. I am here on the...
Charles, and
Oh,
he's about
oh,
to
go
file
ahead.
our very first